Hello, Nico.
How are you?
Very well. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Good to hear. I like your hat.
Thanks. Yeah, of
Thanks so much for your time, first of all. Pleasure talking to you.
course.
And so, first of all, our show will actually air, just a few days before the season finale comes out. So I was wondering, what can fans expect from the very first season finale of World Beyond? Why should they make sure at any cost to don't miss out?
First of all, the most epic battle of the season happens in the finale. Uh,
Ooh,
an unexpected battle, nonetheless. And uh, every at every step of the way, I know this is like terribly cliche, but there is something around the corner. And I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. But the shock value in this finale is real. And also, you get some major pieces of the puzzle regarding the CRM start getting put together, if that makes sense.
ooh, okay. You see, that works. You made me hungry for more now. So.
Sure, good, good, good.
So there were even, some fans were speculating if Rick Grimes might have an appearance in the show, and until they were told no. But is that something you would like to see in the future? Would you like to see World Beyond crossing over with another Walking Dead series, or do you prefer to keep it its own thing?
Yeah, I mean, I may be the one to blame for people theorizing that Andrew Lincoln was going to be part of the finale of this. So I apologize if anyone thought that that is my fault. Um, yes, of course, I would like to see characters from World Beyond continue to live in the greater universe of The Walking Dead. I think The Walking Dead in general is in a transition right now, with the original show, ending after 10 years. And the new spin-off and the anthology series, you have World Beyond, there's kind of this new resurgence. And I love Felix and I love this job. I would love to stay part of and there's the movies, I would
Right.
love to stay part of this universe for as long as I could.
Mhm.
And yeah, work with Andrew Lincoln. Like that's a given.
That would be good, right? Yes. What I personally like about World Beyond is that, the show really takes its time to introduce all of the characters. And
Mhm.
because, in The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, people started to die very early on. And here, really, it's taking its time. We get the backstory for each character in the group, and
Mhm.
which makes us care about them, because right now, after seven episodes in, we care so much about them that we don't want anything to happen to them.
Totally, we're
So
invested. It's kind of the opposite of the first season of Walking Dead, the original. Every episode,
yeah,
one of the main cast would die.
yeah.
Um, in our show, every episode you get to learn more about their past uh, and see them alive. You know.
Right, absolutely. That's what's totally enjoyable about it, because right now, when there's danger around the corner, you're really scared that something might happen to them. So
I mean, like everyone has that one character that they like wouldn't mind if they died.
right, that's true. Um, so this show is all about new beginnings. And so I was wondering, let's pretend for a second that we will be in this very same scenario. Hopefully we will never experience zombies, but let's pretend for a second. What would you say, is it about the old world that we should not forget while building the new one?
Hmm. Well, I mean, technology would be wiped out from the top, right? If something at that level actually unfolded, and the internet would be gone, right?
Right.
And that would be something that any of us alive would never be able to forget. I don't even think that we appreciate what we have to the extent it deserves right now.
Yeah.
Anything that we want to know, learn, um, know more of is at the tip of our fingers, and it is widely accessible to the majority of the planet. Not for everyone. I'm not saying everyone has access, but to the majority of the planet. And if something were to happen that would wipe that away tomorrow morning, we would never be able to forget that. If anything, we would appreciate it more than we do right now.
Right. And now this is a question that actually asked your colleague Nicolas Kondo, because it was about his character Elton, but it also works for you because you grew up in the 90s. So, and very early on in the show, he said that he got his 90s dress that was kind of bike safe. So I was wondering, do you still have anything from the 90s that you kept because it's still useful to you today?
I don't know that it's still useful, but I have a Ninja Turtles backpack that
and you kept that all the time.
Still held on to it, yeah.
Great.
I know my mom has like a box in her garage of a bunch of my old stuff. I was big into WWF and like wrestling, and I have some old wrestling toys from the 90s.
So whenever you want to have some nostalgia, you can open the box and just dig in.
Yeah, for sure.
So cool. I would like to dig in a little bit more into your character Felix, because his backstory is kind of heartbreaking when we see how his father reacted to him being gay, which is something that I don't understand, because we know that there are parents like that in real life as well. And it doesn't make sense, because you go like, if you want to be a parent, then having kids is like the best thing ever, right? So it doesn't get better than that, which also means that losing them will be the worst thing. So the question is, what is worse than losing your child? Why would you abandon your treasure? So, I mean, do you have any idea why there are parents like that? Because I have no idea why there are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the answer to that question is different depending on where you are asking it. But I would say the majority of the world, when it comes down to acceptance of your children and their identity in relationship to the religion that you practice and the God that you praise, if your relationship with God is more important than your relationship with your children, God wins. And it's not really God, it's organized religion. It's the religions that are taught currently and that have been passed down for generations and generations and reappropriated to really serve the church or the temple or the mosque or whatever it is that we're speaking of, rather than serve the people. And that's an unfortunate occurrence that has happened in most of the world. And it's fear-based, right? If my son, if my daughter, if my child is this way, they will not go to heaven or have any sort of afterlife. I won't, because I raised that child. So I need to push that away from me so that I can be saved after this life. And it's unfortunate, but it's real. And, you know, it's terrible. It's terrible. Because if any of you are God-loving folk and have that idea, and you think throwing out your child is going to save you, I can promise you you're going straight to hell.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Definitely. And I mean, please tell me if this is too private, but did you ever face, you know, a similar disappointing reaction after telling your loved ones who you are?
Yeah, I mean, to varying degrees, depending on who we're talking about. It wasn't easy. It wasn't a walk in the park. I think what's different about my situation than the majority of queer people's is that I have been doing this on a public level. This is a conversation that I've been having with other people who have similar experiences on the internet, in podcasts, on television shows, like in film, on news channels across the board. So it's been a very outward public experience. And so people in my life have been able to gather information, not just from the words that I give to them, but also from what I put out into the world. But yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't always easy, specifically with my mom, but you know, she's been part of that public facing transition at this point. You know, she's done interviews on news channels. She's part of my book, like she has really made a full 180 in so many different ways. And that was always part of my goal, was to share that part of my experience in order to like help other people.
And do you feel the support in Hollywood? Because of course, in the past few years, we've seen that movies and TV shows are becoming more diverse, and that more and more people are included. And I mean, you know, a show like The Walking Dead 10, 15 years ago, it felt like impossible to have, you know, a gay character as a leader. You know, it was like an impossible thing. But sometimes I wonder if you know, if they really, if the support is real meant, or if they feel forced to do it, you know? So I was wondering, since you're working in the industry, do you feel the support behind the scenes, you know, as much as we feel it on screen?
That is quite an astute question. Yes and no, to be honest with you. I definitely feel more supported as a queer person than I think ever in history in terms of the industry. Let us not forget that like the majority of taste makers and artists and directors and writers and creators, like in one way or another, have a relation to queerness, right? Performance and queerness are hand in hand. It always happened since the beginning of time, right? But I think because of specifically like how this country was built, the United States, and our history as a people, regarding colonialism and just like the blatant whitewashing of all storytelling. And I'm using white as not just race, but as like a standard for normalcy. Only so many stories have been told, and because of the internet, we finally were able to see on a global level all people's stories, even just briefly on our phones, right? And that demanded more expansive storytelling for sure. But now we're living at this point, specifically in Hollywood, where yes, like it is demanding more complex, more diverse storytelling for sure. But I think a lot of it is still done in relation to the violence that queer people experience. You know, I think The Walking Dead has done a really good job telling Felix's story. Yes, like we did get some of his backstory and the violence that he experienced, but we see that in all of the characters, right? I don't think that is special for Felix on this show. But no, I mean, there is more that needs to be done. But I have faith that like the people in charge are getting queerer.
Right. Well, Nico, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks so much for joining us. And I have actually just one last question. Can I see your dog?
Yes, you can.
Oh, wow. So cute.
In the sun.
Oh, that's fantastic. I have a dachshund, so I am all for dogs as well. So
that is quite the collection that you have behind you.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, I love streaming, but I love it I love it physical. I can't let go of that.
I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Nico. Have a nice time. Thanks so much. Bye.